Right guys, welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a great day. So I received a message asking me what I find the beneficial differences are using the GoPro on my chin bar rather than either on top of my helmet or on the side of my helmet. So I thought I will come out and do a comparison of all three scenarios. I've currently got a camera on the right hand side of my helmet, I've got one on top of my helmet, and I've also got one on my chin bar. So yes, I look like a complete and utter tit at the moment, and my helmet is very, very heavy. Well, a lot heavier than what it usually is, but you know what, I'm doing it for you guys. So personally, I prefer the mount on the chin, just because it's a central view. I can use super view on the GoPro, which what that does, it gets a little bit more image in the top and the bottom, so you can see a lot more of the bike and a lot more of everything that's kind of going on around me. Well, for motorvlog purposes anyway, so like you can kind of see all of this area here, and you can see above and then a little bit of the sky, rather than just all sky and no bike, or all bike and no sky. The top mount on the helmet, for a while I did actually quite like that view, just because it didn't get in my way on the chin, and I'd kind of not figured out a solution to have a microphone plugged into the GoPro, one that actually worked pretty decent, having it on the chin bar. The only problem with that for me is just you look like an absolute having it on the top. You look like a bit of a Teletubby going on, and which I didn't like, but you know what it is, and some people prefer it on the top. They prefer the view, and I do quite like what view you get. The view you get, you seem to be able to see a lot further with it. It captures a lot more of the road, and the exposure is normally pretty good as well. The side view on the helmet is something that I've never particularly liked myself. I don't like it when you can see the helmet in shot, and I don't know, I've just never really been keen on it. But the form factor of it on the side of your helmet, whether you're using, and not necessarily a GoPro, but whether you're using a Drift or a Sony or something like that, it's a lot more, I'm trying to think of the word. Anyway, yeah, it just everything just sits a lot nicer on the helmet. It doesn't really get in your way. And so as far as looks go, and functionality, I would say that having it on the side of your helmet is a lot better if you're using anything other than a GoPro. The thing is with the GoPro, because it's square rather than a long sort of design like the Drift or the Sony, having it on the side of your helmet, it sticks out like a mother, and again, just looks absolutely stupid. So I found that the best mounting positions for the GoPro really is either on the chin bar or on top of your helmet, and that's why I've got GoPro on my chin bar and I've got one on top of my helmet, and then on the side of my helmet I'm using the Sony X1000V. All cameras are recorded at 1080p and 60 frames a second, except for the one on my chin, which is 1080p Super View, 60 frames a second. Both of the GoPros go up to 2.7K and the Sony goes up to 4K. So I thought testing this, I'd kind of ride into the town centre around rush hour, just so you can see what all the cameras sort of pick up with traffic wise when there's a lot of other vehicles around the bike and whatnot. I'll tell you what, my windscreen needs a bit of a clean. It was raining the other night. Yeah, so if you're thinking of getting a camera for your helmet, or you have one and you're trying to decide on the best places to put it, I would say that without a doubt the side view, if you're using a Sony or a Drift camera. With the Drift camera as well, although in my personal experience I think it's got some of the worst software made for cameras, it is one of the best designed bodies that you can actually put on your helmet. It's one of the most functional for where you want to mount it and getting the image perfect. So the Drift can be mounted on the side of the helmet or on top of the helmet, and the lens can rotate so you can get the perfectly straight image. Sony's on the other hand, they're quite tall, although they're thin. They won't really mount anywhere on your helmet very good unless you mount it on the side. GoPro, I would say on top of your helmet or on the chin bar. A lot of people like it on the side of the helmet, but you know, it just sticks out so far, it is ridiculous. Well, I'll say personally, out of more, but my favourite position is on the chin bar. Just the fact that it gives kind of an accurate view of what's in front of me. Although I have it on Super View, which kind of gives you a lot more at the top up here and a lot more at the bottom. If I was to have it on 1080p, that would be more accurate to kind of what's in front of me, rather than the mega ultra wide angle. Or if I decided I wanted it kind of zoomed in a little bit further, I could either shoot it on 1080p narrow, but the image quality is not that great, or I could shoot it on 2.7K 2.7K narrow, which is that's the same quality as 1080p when you shoot it in narrow. So the one thing I've mentioned quite a few times before that I do not like about the side view is when you can see the helmet in shot. I've never really liked that. I think it just, there's so much of what's around you that could be seen if your helmet's not in shot, and the helmet tends to cover, in a decent position, can tend to cover up to a quarter of the picture. Also, again, kind of representation of speed and manoeuvring and whatnot. I think the chin mount kind of gives a better representation of speed as well, on how things look around you when you're actually travelling at speed, or whether you're going slow or fast. And also as well, depending on how you ride, some people really lean with the bike and kind of keep the head with it. You get to see more motion of the bike with it, kind of like a gimbal effect, although you're not exactly using a gimbal. The side of your helmet, not so much. On top of your helmet, not a lot at all. That kind of gives an overview of everything rather than a representation of what's actually happening. So anyway, it's kind of your choice with it. I thought I'd just put this video up so you can actually see what each of the mounting positions are actually like. So as I said, my personal favourite is having it on the chin bar, and at the moment it's a little bit big on the chin bar for me because I've put the extended battery in with the GoPro, which gives me around 3.5 to 3 hours and 45 minutes recording, which I don't really mind. If it's just little A to B journeys, I don't mind not having a backpack on, and it's quite streamlined actually on the front of the chin bar. Obviously the Drift and the Sony don't really have them options. But you can plug external power in on the Drift and it still be somewhat rainproof. You can't do that on the Sony. All the back is completely exposed if you decided to do that. I've currently got the Sony in the waterproof housing. It doesn't need to be in that because it's splashproof and kind of rainproof without it, but I started kind of storing it in there, seeing as I wasn't using it as much. So I thought I may as well just leave it in. Plus I've never actually tried it in the waterproof housing, so I thought I'd kind of give it a go. But yeah, I look like a complete and utter I've got every driver, every passenger, literally everyone just kind of staring, looking as I say, what the f***? So yeah, I'm also giving this iPhone mic a test without the windshield on. I had it before when I tried it at speed with a little foam cover over it, but it was a little bit bulky at the front of my chin, so I've taken it off and cut up an old but clean sock. I cut a bit of that up and just kind of wrapped it around, so the iPhone mic's still very thin. Now I can't even tell that it's kind of in the helmet now, except for the excess wire that I've got taped up at the front of the chin bar. But hopefully soon, maybe next month, I'll be picking up the Shark Vancore helmet, which is it's kind of a open face but with a chin bar. It's weird, you'll have to search for it. It's like the Shark Raw helmet, but the chin bar is fixed. I wanted the Shark Raw, but how I want to mount the GoPro and that, it just wasn't going to work out. So I'm going to pick up the Shark Vancore and kind of make that a purely motovlogging helmet, which then the wires will be able to be mounted a lot better, because in this helmet I can only mount them in the chin bar area because it's a modular helmet, whereas that Vancore I can mount it all around the helmet, so everything's nice and clean and tidy. I tell you what, I feel like an absolute prat with all these cameras on my helmet. It doesn't actually look too bad having the one on the side of the helmet. You know, I may even actually start keeping the Sony there just kind of as a backup. If for any reason the GoPro dies or whatnot, I don't know. It doesn't actually look too bad on the side of the helmet. But I do feel a tit with them on the front, the side and on top. So right guys, I think I'll leave it there. Let me know in the comments which one you actually prefer, whether you prefer the top view, the chin view or the side view. Like I say myself, I personally prefer the chin mount, but everyone's got their own taste. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you want to see any more of the videos, click on channel and clip videos and they're all there. Right, take care all, have a good day and ride safe.